Hi, everybody. Welcome to another exciting session at the Sakai Virtual Conference. This is the Sakai Community Update. So some of the leaders of the Sakai community are going to join us here to provide some updates on the amazing work they're doing and also some information on how you can get involved. Today, we're very fortunate to be joined by 6 of those awesome leaders. Josh Wilson, who's the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Longsight. Jolie Tingen, who's the Learning Technology Analyst at Duke University. Sean Foster, the e-learning technology specialist at Western University. Terry Golightly, the online instructional designer at Johnson University. Tricia Gordon, the director of UVA Collab Sakai applications at the University of Virginia. And Wilma Hodges, the director of training and e-learning initiatives at Longsight. My name is Matt Burgess. I'm also from the University of Virginia, and I'll be facilitating our session today. Just a few reminders before we get started. First of all, please note that all the attendees will be muted when they enter the meeting room. So if you'd like to speak or ask a question at some point, don't forget that you'll need to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, you can enter them into the chat box at any time. I'll be monitoring it along with the presenters as they're able. And don't forget that this session is being recorded and it will be available at a later date on the Sakai YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for that. I think that Wilma is going to begin our parade of updates. So whenever you're ready, take it away, Wilma.
Great. Thank you, Matt. So I'm really happy to be here today with all of my co-presenters because really the Sakai community is, I think, one of the best things about Sakai. It's just a great group of people to work with, a lot of very talented, dedicated folks, and that's really what keeps everything moving. So there's a lot of different working groups in the community that help make things happen, and we wouldn't have the product that we do if it weren't for all these wonderful folks. So I'd like to take a little bit of time to recognize some of their efforts and also let you know how you can get involved, because we're always looking for more people to be on the team there to help make Sakai the very best platform that it can be. So, and I know you've probably all heard the "there's no I in team" adage. Well, I'd like to do a little twist on that and just say that you can't spell community without you. So it's all about you guys. So I'm going to start off with a couple of the groups that I'm involved with, and then I will turn it over to each of my other co-hosts and in the order that the slides come up. So when I get to your slide, just tell me when you want to advance since I've got the slide share going. So Help Docs is an area that I've been involved with pretty much the entirety of my time at involved with Sakai, and we write the documentation, the help files that go with Sakai. So if you're wondering how to do something and you just can't figure it out and you have to resort to the user guide, that's what those help docs create. We have it's in Sakai, it's context sensitive help, but we also have something called Screen Steps, which is the authoring tool that we use, and that's available outside of Sakai, and a lot of people actually point to it from their instance rather than the local included help. So you can do it either way. It's the same content, but it makes for a nice way to collaborate on updating that content. We do meet monthly. We usually meet the first Friday of the month at 11 o'clock. And we use Big Blue Button. All our meetings are on the Sakai calendar. So if you don't know how to find that calendar, let me know, and I can give you the URL to view the calendar or to subscribe to it if you want to add some of those meetings to your calendars. But actually our next meeting, we rescheduled it because it would have fallen earlier this month, and with the virtual conference coming up, it was a little crazy. So we actually scheduled it to late in the month after Thanksgiving, and so we probably won't meet the first week in December because we'll have just met on November 30th. But if you are interested in documentation and you want to hear about what's going on or find out how you can help, we'd love to have you attend our next meeting. And again, if you need any more info on that, how to get there, just let me know. Our current project, our current focus at the moment is updating everything for Sakai 19. Sakai 19 will be out hopefully by the end of this year. So we've got to make sure that all the documentation is ready to go out with it. And that's the focus of our attention at the moment. But this group also talks about other things in addition to the user help. We also talk about other types of documentation, things like Confluence and other ways that we can help document and communicate the work of the community. The other thing that I typically am very involved with is the Sakai Virtual Conference planning. That's another working group. It's somewhat seasonal because it just kind of kicks off usually in the summer right after Open Apereo and runs through now when we have the virtual conference in November. But if you had fun today and you enjoy attending, I really encourage you to think about helping out with the planning committee. It's always a lot of fun. It's a great group of folks that help us pull all this together. So if you're interested in volunteering, feel free to reach out to me directly, or I'll be posting messages to recruit new volunteers. Again, usually we do that in the summer when we are sort of starting off, a few months prior to the event. Again, we're always looking for new members. And that's it for my slides. I'm going to turn it over now to Josh.
All right. Thanks, Wilma. So I want to speak on behalf of the marketing team, and there are several of you folks who are here who are on that team. So this is a small but mighty group at this point. So I want to share a little bit of news and remind you all what the C-level messages are, what the key messages are about Sakai that are going to be part of our plan to launch our upcoming release of Sakai at year's end or at the start of 2019. So big news, new SakaiLMS.org website. We worked over the summer to have a new Sakai website and it is up. So the plan is to begin to winnow down the SakaiProject.org website so that it is more focused on our needs, it's more of an internal resource. But for marketing Sakai and for trying to show off Sakai and what it can do and the awards that we've won for C-level deciders, CIOs, and other chief officers at institutions. That's what the SakaiLMS.org website is for. We purchased some market research, and that's helping us figure out how we compare to other products like Canvas and Moodle. And the work of the marketing team for this fall is creating a marketing plan to go with the 2019 launch of Sakai version 19. And we don't like to talk about the version, so I'm trying to come up with different language. The marketing plan for Sakai's upcoming major release. So I'm trying that one out. Anyway, so that's what's been going on with the marketing team of late. And I just want to remind you what the messages are that we're focused on. So we came up with these last year around Sakai 12 and validated these in the run-up to this fall's work. So Sakai is vibrant, Sakai is for leaders. This is we really want to make the case that Sakai is a serious, living, breathing, exciting, growing affair, and that it's not withering on the vine. Sakai is vibrant, and below that, Sakai is modern software with a great UI. Sakai is energetically evolving. So our energetic evolution has everything to do with the community, and as Wilma says, the you that goes into it, and also Sakai is cloud ready. So as you talk to people about Sakai, try and keep those messages in mind. Tell a story about our vibrancy, about our modern software, our great UI, our energetic evolution. The fact that we're moving to an annual release cycle is a big part of this, and our cloud readiness. So you've got the opportunity whenever you talk to people at your institution or your C-level deciders about making the case for Sakai. So make the case whenever you can, and it's our job to put some tools and information in your hand to do it. So let's see, who is up next after me?
I think it's me. Thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm Tricia Gordon at the University of Virginia, and along with Matt Burgess, who's moderating our session today and also works with me at the University of Virginia, and Wilma Hodges from Longsight, we facilitate the teaching and learning calls that meet twice a month on the first and third Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And what we primarily focus on is we usually have a presenter or maybe a panel to talk about, to explore particular features or pedagogical benefits, some design, instructional design, best practices, etc., with each other. So it's an opportunity for us to learn from each other, share best practices and successes, and sometimes things that don't work out so well, and learn from each other. That is the primary point of our twice monthly calls. We do also have the opportunity from time to time to provide feedback. In fact, all the time, every time we meet. We usually engage in discussions and provide feedback to developers when they're on the call who might be working on new features or changes to the system to get the teaching and learning / user perspective on those proposed changes. So it's a great opportunity for us as a community to give feedback on improvements and the direction of changes and new features coming in Sakai. So with that, I would say if you have not attended a teaching and learning call, I would encourage you to do so if you are interested in learning about things that are happening and would like to also have an opportunity to give input and have your voice heard. This is a great forum for you to do so. The meetings are open to all. We send out our reminders announcing upcoming dates and topics to 3 lists, primarily the Apereo TL, the Sakai-user, and the portfolio lists. They're all at apereo.org lists. So if you're not already on one of these lists, you're missing our announcements. So reach out to me or Wilma. Wilma manages these lists, but you're welcome to reach out to me as well, and I'll give you the information on how to subscribe. So anyway, it's a great opportunity to participate at a real, level of and get a lot out of it too. So welcome one and all to the sessions. Thanks.
This is Terry Golightly, speaking for the Accessibility Committee. Tiffany Stull is the head of the committee, but she's not able to be with us today. Her email is at the bottom of the page, and mine is on the left side. We've had quite an active year with the Accessibility Working Group this year. And going into Sakai version 11, Level Access was hired to do a review of accessibility, and they basically troll through the code and find violations in the code that would create accessibility obstacles. And they submitted a bunch of issues that needed to be fixed, and those went into development and they were fixed, and then a reassessment that happened after Sakai 12 was implemented, and the implementation of 12 introduced a lot more issues that needed to be fixed. Now we're at the process of having spent, Longsight developers have spent the summer fixing these issues. We're ready to have a final assessment from Level Access and get a good score, but we need more funding. So we're looking for some of the bigger institutions or smaller ones. Money doesn't know if it's a big institution or a small one, to help fund this final assessment from Level Access. This assessment will review those things that have been fixed and what we have learned going forward. So we're beginning to get more of these things in the development phase rather than the remediation phase. And so accessibility on the platform is a continually improving and a vital thing. A lot of conversation about it. one thing that we have, I wanted to especially mention the team of Ron McGettrick at Illinois State University. He has a group of assistive technology users that test out these things to make sure that we're not just dealing with theoretical or just code issues, but that real users can actually navigate around the platform with the fixes, with the affordances that have been coded in. We really appreciate getting feedback when people in the community find issues, find obstacles, because we want to clear them out as soon as we can. If your institution is particularly concerned about accessibility, I invite you to partner with us in this. And we usually have been meeting on the first and third Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, but that's kind of shifting because we're finding that that doesn't meet well with the schedule of some people, time issues and whatnot. So be sure that you contact either Tiffany or me, and we can notify you of the meetings that are coming up and get you into the conversation so that your particular issues, whatever they be, for whatever accommodation or adjustment that needs to be made for accessibility, gets written into the platform. And that's, yeah.
Thank you, Terry. This is Jolie Tinchin. I work at Duke University. I'm presenting on the Atlas Awards today on behalf of my colleague, Sophia Stone, who's the Atlas Chair this year. Her email address is on the slide on the left if you want to get in touch with her. If you're unfamiliar with the Atlas Awards, they are given every year. The Atlas stands for Apereo Teaching and Learning Awards. So these awards are looking for any faculty who are instructors, anything that's teaching related, that's using an Apereo tool. It could be Xerte, it could be OpenCast, it could be Sakai. So it's not just limited to Sakai as it used to be. And the award recognizes excellent pedagogy and innovation across all Apereo tools. The committee is comprised of members across the Apereo community. We've been trying to, I've been helping Sophia a little bit since she's fairly new to the committee, recruit people from some of the other Apereo tools. And if you're interested in participating, you could either participate by being on the committee, which does a lot of the planning for the award and promotion of the award, or you can just participate as a peer reviewer. That is also a possibility. So when the applications come in for the award, you assist with reviewing the applications against the Atlas rubric. The meetings are typically October through June, with June being when the conference is, because the award winners get a paid trip to Open Apereo, which is very nice, and we get to see them present their award-winning course or design. So that is Atlas in a nutshell. And this slide is also mine. This slide is all about quality assurance testing. I'm sure you've seen emails from me and some of either the Sakai user list or the dev list. If you are not on the QA list and you're interested in helping test Sakai, please join that list. There's also a QA Slack channel. And there's a Confluence page and for the Sakai QA Hub. We're on 19, we're QAing 19 right now. The QA is something that never stops. As long as we have bugs and we have fixes for those bugs and have releases, we will always be testing. We'll always be testing fixes, always be testing for releases. So the QA, people who help plan QA and kind of run the testing and oversee the testing, work very closely with the release manager in the community and to sort of coordinate those releases to understand how the testing is going. Do we feel like the release is ready? So QA is very tied to releases. So if you want Sakai 19, you've got to help test. And we also have been working more closely recently with the accessibility group. As Terry mentioned earlier, with the level access report, many JIRAs were created related to the fixes that were needed for us to meet our accessibility goals with Sakai. And I've been working closely with that team to make sure that those JIRAs are effectively tested. And so that's another piece of QA, is kind of reaching out to other groups and kind of putting together a test plan and just kind of keeping in touch with people who are testing. I hope that you'll join in on QA, and if you want to just, join one of the channels, the Slack channel or the list, that would be fantastic. We'd love to have you test. The QA planning happens on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to get involved with that piece, or if you just want to test, you can join us for Test Fest every Thursday at 10 Eastern Time, where we all just get on a big blue button call together in the QA room and talk about what we're testing that day and test for an hour and wrap it up at the end. So we'd love to have you test.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Sean, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about one of our groups that we have, one of the community groups that does the JIRA triage. JIRA is our bug tracking software that we do for release management, and that's where all the issues and new feature requests can be submitted to. And as a part of the process, anyone in the community can create a JIRA issue or a JIRA feature request. And as a part of the JIRA triage meetings that happens every week, we go through those requests that have come in for the past week, and that they're currently in an awaiting review state. And we look over them to see if they are detailed enough and have the steps to reproduce them, whether they include all the information that we need in the ticket, including the effects version, so which version of Sakai it was affecting, whether it has a test plan or steps to reproduce, maybe some screenshots or a video if necessary, and a complete enough description. And then we also want to make sure that it's not a duplicate of another issue that already exists or has already been worked on, that might already be fixed or might be in the process of being fixed. So the JIRA triage group is just an informal group that meets on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we just go through them. You don't need any particular expertise other than maybe some background in Sakai, and feel free to drop by and we'll teach you how to go through it. And we go through it as a group, one issue at a time, so it's not like you'll be on your own. And it also gives you a great opportunity to learn more about JIRA itself, some of the features and components and options and elements of each issue. And I'll just paste in the chat there. It's jira.sakaiproject.org is the link to our Sakai JIRA for the whole instance. So please, I hope you can join us on Mondays. The next group that I wanted to talk about today is the core team. And the core team is the core group of developers. They're the core committers of the code to Sakai, and they help manage all of the code that goes into the final releases. And the core team meets, the core developers and community leaders meets on a weekly basis. And at that meeting, which is typically about an hour and a half long, we discuss any community announcements that have come up, working groups, and this is something that we're trying to expand on. Some of the working groups that we've discussed here today, as well as other ones, can provide updates from their group. We also discuss upcoming releases for Sakai and plan out those releases as to when they'll happen, when QA will be needed, when docs will be needed, and what are the steps or tasks that are remaining in order to get that new release out. We also look over the blocker and critical issues. So those are two of our priorities for our JIRA issues. And those are the top most critical ones. So something that might block the release or something that's really critical. And we review those in more detail. And then we also look at pull requests. And pull requests are the code contributions that developers have submitted to the project. And I have a little screenshot there on the left of some of the list of pull requests, and that's up on GitHub. And we review some of the outstanding pull requests that are pending and either comment on them and help the developers revise them, or we look at merging them into the core product. So that's a part of the process too. So the core team is more of a technical and more developer-oriented meeting, but we do have the first half of it is more open to the community, and the whole meeting is open to the community, but it's more focused on announcements and updates for the working group. So we hope that anybody will want to come by and join us, and then that's Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, and see what's going on in the Sakai community there. And then the last group that I'm going to talk about today is the UX group. And this is for the user experience of Sakai. We want to shape and improve the user experience of Sakai. And this group meets typically monthly on the first Wednesday of the month. Today being the first Monday of the month, first Wednesday of the month. We're moving our November meeting to next Wednesday. But the UX group discusses different things related to user experience, including accessibility, UI related things. And our current initiative is Switch, which is standardization within tools can happen. And that's helping to standardize the consistency of tools across the platform so that elements are all work and look the same, and that users can expect a consistent experience when using Sakai. So we're always looking for new volunteers. If you have UX experience, that's great. Or if you just have interest in learning about it, that's great too. We're always looking for new volunteers. So we'll hope that you'll join us. And as I said, our next meeting is next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
All right, so you've heard a little bit about all the different things going on in different areas of the community. And this is not an exhaustive list. There's other, pockets of activity going on, but these were all the folks I could wrangle together for one call here. Do you guys have any questions that we could help answer, since you've got a number of us from representing different areas? I'm sure we'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. All right, I'm hearing crickets, so I guess nobody has questions. For any of our speakers, anything you guys want to add?
Thanks, Wilma. This is Tricia. I wanted to add that the participation in the teaching and learning calls could be attending and giving feedback and learning from others, but it could also be as a presenter. Perhaps you're doing something interesting in Sakai, you're helping faculty, or you know of faculty who are doing interesting things and would like to share that with us. We're always looking for people to come and present on interesting things that you're doing. So that is another way that you can participate, and it's a really helpful way. We're very interested in hearing from you.
Yeah, and one thing that that they do a lot of times at the teaching and learning calls, we have folks who we've seen present maybe at Open Apereo or at the Sakai virtual conference. If there was a session that was really popular, sometimes we'll get those folks to give an encore performance at the teaching and learning call, so there's another opportunity to ask questions, and people who may have missed the first go around get a chance to see it.
That's right. And touching on Jolie's conversation about the Atlas Awards, we will often invite those award winners to come and present their topics again in a teaching and learning call after they've already presented at Open Apereo. So, and that's always a great opportunity to see what real faculty are doing in their courses and their success stories with using Sakai. So lots of good stuff there.
And those are recorded and available on the Apereo YouTube channel.
I was going to bounce off of Jennifer's comment about the overview of all the groups we can be part of. The fact is, Jennifer, that there are more groups. There's, I'm thinking of the Forums Modernization Group, and and whatnot, and to become part of the conversation and say, you know what, this thing bothers me, and you find 2 or 3 more people and you come up with a strategy and a plan as to what that thing that bothers you should be, and you become part of the active community that makes sure that these changes happen. And that's one thing that we're trying to encourage you to do. If you find an area that you would like to see boosted and improved, either become a part of a group you know, or find out if there's a group there that we haven't talked about today and you can be part of the conversation there. Teaching and learning group is a great place to start those conversations, and then to break off and say, well, here we are all wanting to improve the such and such, and you start your own focus group or task force.
That's a great point, Terry. I also want to add to that the 2 groups that I talked about at the end there, they also have mailing lists, as do a lot of these other groups. And I've just pasted in a link into the chat, which is linked off the Apereo website, to a list of other contact and mailing lists that you can contact. It has all the Apereo projects listed there, but Sakai is one of them if you scroll down to S. And that is a link to all of the, or most of the Sakai groups there that have mailing lists. So if you want to join, but want to see kind of what the discussion is before, you can check out the list there too. And a lot of the groups also have a channel on Slack as well. So you can go to the Apereo Slack group and see those groups there.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for giving us updates on all the various working groups. And I hope that some of you attending will be encouraged to maybe attend a group you haven't been to before, because we're a very friendly group. So I'm sure you'll be welcomed with open arms, no matter which working group you want to pop in on. So
yeah, we look forward to new faces and new voices and new names.
And ideas.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap up. And we have one more session of the day, and that's the wrap up with the prizes. So hopefully you guys will join us there for the unveiling of the winners.
So a huge thank you to all of our awesome leaders for taking a few minutes to walk us through some, not all, but some of the amazing things and the amazing groups that are going on within the Sakai community right now. I think that Terry's exactly right, that the ability to connect with other educational leaders and work on your educational product and change it in the way that you want and need it is one of the real strengths of Sakai, one of the real things that sets it apart from another product that you can just buy off the shelf or download somewhere. You are directly connected to it, and you have the ability to shape it in the way that you know best, and who knows better than you, because you work in education. You're not a corporate person. So this is a real strength of our community, and thanks so much to all the leaders who showed that today by coming out and sharing a few things with us. So I'm going to shut down the recording right now, and hopefully we'll see you all in our last session of the day. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.